How do you feel about talking about next season already? Well, the next season's fixtures have already launched, and obviously every team is going through, spooling through the fixtures they currently have right now and working out where the tricky part of the season is, what it's like when they start the season, who they're going to fare well against, who they're not going to fare so well against, and whether the season is going to pan out for them in the way that they thought they would. This is our first inkling of how next season is going to look roughly in terms of structure. So, how do you feel about it? Ipswich away. Last time we played Ipswich away, we had Sami Huppier in the team. We had Michael Owen. We had Emil Heskey, I think. We had Abel Javier. We had quite a few, I think Didi Hamann was in the side as well. That tells you how long ago it was that Ipswich played in the Premier League. And frankly, I don't hate it as an opening day fixture, but to caveat that, there's also a bunch of newly promoted side, playing pretty decent football, aspiring young manager, big head on the block, team that probably want to beat us, impress their home fans, make an impression on the league. And Liverpool have a brand new manager, brand new feel, a Liverpool 3.0, 4.0, 5, whatever it is in this modern era. If Klopp did 2.0, is this 3.0? 3.0 seems like quite an advanced version of this side at that point. Or do we go back to 1.0 because of Michael Edwards, because of Arne Slot, because of everyone else who's been coming into the club? I don't know. You let me know in the comments below. Anyway, we'll have known for a little while what Slot is going to try to push this team, which direction he wants to go in, right? We'll know, we won't even know a hundredth of what it is that he's going to do in his Liverpool time, but we will know roughly, how he's going to set this side up, roughly where we're going to be. Maybe a few players will still be coming back, still be post-Euros, all these kind of things. But we will have a good and I'd say fairly decent idea of how the side are going to set up, where we'll see someone like Trent, where we'll see someone like Salah, where we'll see someone like Nunez, if we'll see some certain signings being integrated into the team, if we'll even have that many signings at that point. You would hope as a Liverpool fan we might have a couple of signings by then just to sort of refresh the side and maybe give us an idea of where we're going to go. But yeah, we play Ipswich opening day of the season. It's a pretty interesting one. I mean, of course, it's an early kickoff. Of course, we have a 12:30. Of course, we're going to have loads of 12:30s because for some weird reason, that's Liverpool's fixtures. Maybe it's slightly better this year because we won't have the Thursdays. Maybe we'll have Thursdays later in the season, you never know. But we won't have the Thursdays, we'll have the Wednesdays and the Tuesdays, which gives us a little bit more recovery time. But then we don't get the recovery time on the front end going into that game. So let me know how you feel about that as well. And obviously, it's a brand new Champions League structure. So there's a completely different feel there about that as well. And then, of course, Liverpool then, in their opening home game of the season, is, of course, Brentford. Interesting side to play, second game of the season, but also your first home game. Really tricky technical side. A side that obviously we've had a lot of kind of, without equal games, but I want to say they're games where Brentford have sort of shown, hey, we're a decent side here, we can do something, and we're going to worry Liverpool. But also, it's just, you don't like technical teams. You want a side who you feel like, hey, we are superior than, or at least superior on a number of different levels, not overall. The point being, there are very few sides like that in the Premier League now. Tell me, who would you have actually liked to open the season against? Who would you have actually liked to have your opening home game against? It's hard to judge. And so Ipswich doesn't seem like all that bad. Brentford doesn't seem like all that bad in terms of, hey, we could have had City, Newcastle, Arsenal, Man United, all these big sides. You would want to open up against a side like Ipswich because it feels like a game that people are going to want to tune in. Not a game that is oh, that one's easy, we'll just chalk that one up as a win. But a game where it's hey, let's see how Liverpool are going to play. Let's see whether they are going to have something which actually we lacked quite a lot under Klopp. But let me put it this way. When we played some of the teams who were not as high up the table as we were, sometimes we struggled against them. Or Ipswich going to sit in against us. We're going to see a lot of Arne Slot in this game. We're going to see a lot of how we're going to approach teams with maybe a deep block, teams who counter on us, teams who are going to try and play nice football against us. What is that dynamic going to be like in the Premier League? How are we going to be? We're going to be on the front foot? Are we going to be more possessional under a Slot? Are we going to be a side that, are able to take on some of these smaller sides and put them to the sword rather than, maybe struggle over the line against them? And then, of course, speaking of smaller sides, Manchester United, third game of the season, away at Old Trafford, a great test early on for Arne Slot. I love it. I'm really excited for it. Erik ten Hag will have made his changes. There's going to be a Ball derby. There's going to be a Ball Dutch derby. There's going to be a Ball Dutch derby of managers who manage teams that play in a red, I don't want to say jersey, t-shirt, top, colours. Anyway, same thing. Point being, it's exciting. We're going to see Liverpool in a high-pressure environment. We're also going to see Manchester United in their new form. We're going to see them reformed in some fashion, probably more in Erik ten Hag's shape. And maybe there's something there that we are kind of excited about. Maybe there's something there that actually we get a decent idea of, what this Liverpool team are feeling like about the new era. Then we play Forest. Not really a massive fan of that, but that one is at home. Forest are, again, similar to Brentford, difficult side to play, don't want to have to play them. And then we play Bournemouth. Again, horrible side to play, difficult side to play, love playing expansive football. Will that play in Slot's hand at that point in the season, or will it play against us? Will we have mastered a lot of what Slot wants us to do, or will we be still working on things? Let's see. And then Wolves away. Again, that's pretty technical opening to the season there, but I've also got the rest of the season's fixtures here. How do you feel about that opening to the season? I've got the rest of these fixtures. Wow, it really was. Abel Javier, Steven Gerrard played in number 17 the last time that we played Ipswich away in the Premier League. That was 2002. Anyway, opening day of the season, all the way down to Wolves, we've done. Then we go Palace, Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, Villa. That is a pretty difficult and chunky time to be playing. That mixed in with the Champions League that we will be playing in that era doesn't look too tasty. Then you've got Southampton, then we've got City at home. Then we play Newcastle, Everton, Fulham, Spurs. I'm just reading you through these, but obviously, when you hear these names, you're kind of getting, I see these like, oh, tricky, oh, what game, what are we going to do there? What's going to go on there? Obviously, you can never judge it far enough ahead of time because we don't know what those teams are going to be like. We don't know who they're going to book, or what style they're going to play, but we've got a rough idea, right? Newcastle, Everton, Fulham, Spurs, Leicester, West Ham, Manchester United at home, Forest, Brentford, Ipswich, Bournemouth, Wolves, City, Newcastle. They've put City and Newcastle back to back twice in here, actually, weirdly. Maybe it's something to do with like a Middle East derby, I don't know. Southampton, Villa, Everton, Fulham, West Ham, Leicester. I've got to pick up, sorry, I had to go over the page. Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, Palace. Spurs, Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, Palace is a tricky finish to the season. There are a couple of gluts in there. There's a couple of times where it's like play City and then Newcastle back to back. Do you want to play those two? So if you have a bad result, you can bounce back. Do you want to do it the other way around? Let me know how you feel about playing teams. I do feel that over the season, and I feel like I make this point a lot, and people sometimes say, oh, I don't agree with that. Some people do. I think that playing the order of the games in the season makes a difference. Sometimes you're going to play teams when they're at their peak of their powers. Sometimes you're going to play them when they're not. And so comparing like for like, whether you played, say we played Manchester United game 3 and they're still getting some of their identity together, they're still bedding new players in. It's better than playing them 10 games in if they are a really good side at that point and, they've really got their identity together. Of course, it could also flip the other way where they're very good early on because they're full of confidence, have it destroyed by a side, and then you play them 10 games in and wow, this isn't even the Manchester United side that we knew or loved. Do you know what I mean? So I see an importance personally in terms of the order that people face each other. Where we face City, which is, let me just bring this up. We faced City first time November, so a week before my birthday. God, that's great. And then we face them again the 22nd of February. No fixture this season, although it might end up being rejigged for Sky on Valentine's Day. Kind of glad about that. Always makes it tricky for the guys and the girls out there who are football watchers. Got to go out on a date, but you've actually got the football on in the background. Anyway, they've already got some 7:45s in here, but already we've got that 12:30 against Ipswich. No doubt we'll have a lot more 12:30s. We had, I think, almost 3 times more 12:30s than any other team last season. So I'll be interested to see if we still get those this season, if that is still a bit of a crawl. If it is still a bit of a thorn in our side, or whether we are a different side in this era, whether we feel different about recovery and those kind of things. We've changed all of our backroom stuff, so there's a lot to change at Liverpool. There's a lot to see and feel out how this new era is going to look. I'd imagine there are a couple of players who are going to miss a couple of those backroom staff. I'd imagine there are a couple of players who maybe won't adapt to change as well as others. We'll see who will and see who won't. But obviously it's Arne Slot's job to bed those people in, to make them feel better, to give them that confidence and their vitalisation to go out there and perform their best. I don't think going from Klopp to any manager is going to be an easy transition, but I definitely think that if you're going to go from Klopp to anyone, Slot is going to be an interesting choice and someone who naturally we're going to go, well, is he Jurgen Klopp? But actually he's got a lot of great factors to him which make him a good follow-on from Jurgen Klopp, but also make him a good manager in his own right. Obviously, if you integrate pre-season into this and all that, then we'll have seen them maybe 5-6 times at that point. That's exciting. But really, this is where the competition really begins. And seeing them against Ipswich, Brentford, Manchester United, Nottingham Forest, and then Bournemouth. That's our first 5 games of the season. Let me know which one you pick out there. Bournemouth, obviously tricky. United, obviously tricky. I mean, these are all hard games. What I mean is, like, games we've struggled against them historically. It's hard, man. It's not the worst opening to the season, because we could have played City like in the first 2 games. But there's also a lot of technical, difficult sides in there, and that's my caveat on this one. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll chat to you again in a little while. Much love. Bye. Oh, by the way, going to be doing a bit more content on this channel. Didn't really know what people wanted to see for a little while. Sort of felt like, oh, do people really want to watch this channel? Thinking of doing some Euro stuff, but just based around the Liverpool players. Let me know, how do you feel about that? Would you be interested in that? Is that something you'd want to watch? Chat to you guys in a little while. Much love, bye.